Hello my friends! Welcome back! I hope you've been experimenting with Python shell and using all those mathematical operators we just learned about. If you haven't tried to experiment further, remember, you need to have hands-on practice and make mistakes in Python shell to really learn how Python works. If you have practiced a lot with Python shell, and are ready to move on to bigger things, then you've come to the right place. What do you say we take it to the next level? Right now, we are using the Python shell environment to write our code. And it's awesome in that it gives you feedback right away for your math, for recalling what is saved in variables, and tell you about syntax errors. That's great and all to learn and experiment. But, if my robot friend here Pytron 1 acted like Python shell, this is what he would act like. Hello Mr. Robot. What is 5 plus 5?
10.
Okay. What's stored in variable city I live in?
Dallas, Texas.
What is 25 divided by 5?
5.
Okay, I'm up. I think you get the point. If we stick with just using Python shell, you mostly get short, quick responses from the computer. It's great for experimenting and trying out things. If we want to take it to the next level, and really get the computer to do some complicated, and interesting things, we are going to have to learn to write code that we can save into files. The reason this is important is because we can save many lines of code into one file and use it over and over. It's kind of like writing a short book. But it will be your book. And it will be read by the computer so it can do what you tell it to do. That's kind of cool. So let's go. Let me show you how to do this. Sorry guys, I had to get a little bit of exercise before our next assignment. I brought my laptop with me. So let's work on that code we were going to look at. Okay, so let's open up Python shell as we have before. When Python shell opens, you simply go up to File, and select New File. You'll see this pop-up window that is completely separate from Python shell. In this window, we will type in our Python code, name the file into something you will remember, and then run it. What do you say we write a short program that will ask you your name, your age, and write you a thank you note in Spanish? Once we get that working, we can work on a program that will let you order pizzas online and send your parents the bill. Doesn't that sound awesome? Come on then, let's get started! So, in that new window you just created we are going to type the following. Remember this should be the window separate from Python shell. We are going to create two variables, or Python socks if you want to think of them like that. One to store your name, and one to store your age. Notice that I'm setting each of the variables equal to something called input. That's something new we have not seen before. Guess what that is for? Yes, you guessed it. It's going to ask you to input something on the keyboard when it runs. Awesome, huh? Now, we are going to type code that will take out what you put in your Python socks, your variables, and print them on the screen in Spanish. Notice how I'm typing the code inside the print function. The commas help Python understand the difference between just text, and the variables you're adding. Also, don't forget to add both the left and right parentheses after the print statement. I often forget to add the right one and I end up getting a syntax error. Almost finished. There. We are now done writing the code. Now, let's run the code. To do that, just go up to the Run menu item on the Python menu. Click on Run Module. Python will ask you if you want to save your code to a file. Click OK. Right here, you get to name your file whatever you want. My recommendation would be to name it something you can remember what the code inside the file does. That way, later on you can easily find it and run it again and again. Click Save. Notice the window with your code closes and runs in Python shell. Go ahead and enter responses to the questions being asked. And there you have it. See how your code asks for responses from you to your keyboard. Then it uses these responses to build sentences to say whatever you want it to say. Remember how I said there is an advantage of saving your code to files instead of just typing it directly into the Python shell? Here, let me show you how to open up the file and run it again. From the Python shell, you just go up to File and select Open. Remember how I said to name the file to something you can remember? This is the reason why. Select the name of the file you saved your code into. And there is the code you just wrote. Just click Run and then Run module. Go back and try it again, my friends. Get comfortable with writing code to files, saving it, then running again and again. This will basically be the way we will build and save all of our code from now on. Welcome to the world of not just writing Python code, but writing Python programs. We are growing up as Python programmers, my friends. See you all on the next lesson.
Hi Daniel. Ready to go home?
Sure thing, Dad. I was just coding here in the park. My friends and I just finished learning how to write our first Python program file.
That's great, son. You and your friends here are learning quickly.
Yes. I have some great teammates to learn with. Alright guys, let's check our progress. So we managed to write our first Python program and learn how to save it as a file. Then, we were able to run the program again and again because we learned to save it. This is a bit improvement over Python shell because we can now save our program for later. Of course, Python shell is a great tool and a Python programmer's friend. But if we are going to write long programs that do cool stuff, we needed to learn to write code and save it to files. Oh, and guess what? Now that we have completed this phase of our Mega Robot roadmap, we get to go to the next level. Congratulations, my friends! We're on to the next phase, my friends. This is what we will now be learning. If we are going to learn how to make my Mega Robot here smarter, we need to learn how to program Python logic to solve real-world problems. What better, and more delicious way to learn this than by writing our own code to take customer pizza orders? That sounds like fun, doesn't it? Then what are you waiting for? I'll wait for you in the next lesson so we can get started.